Long greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. I have several updates to bring to you. Breaking news pertaining to R.Kelly, the Ahmad Aubrey case. Those three have been found guilty in a federal case. I'm going to bring you content pertaining to a Miami cop who broke into her ex-boyfriend's car and home. Also going to bring you information pertaining to Ukraine and Russia. To make sure I remember everything. I had so many lined up. And also Darion Brown. That will be the last story that I'll bring you. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have a lot to play pertaining to this live. The first storyline is pertaining to what's going on across the pond. Putin authorizes Russian forces to deploy in eastern Ukraine. This was uploaded an hour ago. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Hello, Soul. Thank you for joining. And prayers for the Ukraine. Thank you.
Vladimir Putin's moves involving Ukraine. 24 hours after Putin said he was recognizing two Russian-backed regions of Ukraine as independent, tonight President Biden before the American people calling it the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. The president saying Putin is planning to essentially carve out a big chunk of Ukraine. President Biden now announcing severe sanctions on Russian banks and wealthy Russians, warning it's just the beginning. If Putin takes another step, that there could be more. America's allies tonight united, acting quickly. The EU imposing sanctions of its own. And late today, we learned Secretary of State Antony Blinken has now canceled that meeting planned with the Russian foreign minister that had been set for this Thursday. That wasn't a surprise, but one more sign tonight reflecting the seriousness of this moment. President Biden speaking to the nation late today, calling Russia's actions a flagrant violation of international law, saying, who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries? A unanimous vote for sanctions from all 27 countries of the European Union. Germany delivering one of the sharpest blows, halting certification of that gas pipeline, Nord Stream 2, from Russia to Germany. President Biden saying this unity is something Putin hasn't been counting on. Tonight, Cecilia Vega standing by at the White House, Martha Raddatz in Ukraine, but we're going to begin here with our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, in Kyiv again tonight.
Tonight, President Biden condemning Vladimir Putin after the Russian leader recognized two Russian-backed separatist states in eastern Ukraine and ordered his forces to move in.
He bizarrely asserted that these regions are no longer part of Ukraine and their sovereign territory. To put it simply, Russia just announced that it is carving out a big chunk of Ukraine.
Biden slamming Putin for declaring them independent states.
Who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare
Amen.
new so-called countries on territory that belong to his neighbors?
Biden then imposing significant new sanctions against Russian banks, business elites, and their families.
So we've cut off Russia's government from Western financing. It can no longer raise money from the West.
The European Union's 27 nations also unanimously imposing sanctions, with Germany freezing the major new Russian natural gas pipeline known as Nord Stream 2. Biden announcing he's also deploying 800 US troops already in Europe, as well as fighter jets and helicopters to NATO members in the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. The president insisting these are defensive moves and the troops will not be fighting Russian soldiers. Not far from Ukraine's border with Poland, Matt Gutman is with US paratroopers.
This is part of the contingent from the 82nd Airborne. They've been here for a number of days already. They're part of joint exercises with the Polish military, and we are just a handful of miles away from the Ukrainian border in that direction.
Their mission described as deter and assure. Deter Russia, assure the Allies. But Putin remains defiant, hinting at his possible next move, supporting the claims of Russian-backed separatists to the entire Donbass region of eastern Ukraine. The rebels currently hold around 30% of the Donbass. The rest is held by Ukrainian forces. Any attempt by the rebels with Russian military backing to take the rest of this land will almost certainly lead to a major conflict. Russia evacuating its diplomats from Ukraine, smoke rising from the embassy in Kiev after staff were seen carrying in what appear to be boxes of documents. Despite Kremlin denials that Russian troops have already deployed into the east of Ukraine, images have emerged of what seem to be Russian tanks and armored personnel carriers there. Putin issuing 3 demands: that Ukraine abandon its goal of joining NATO, to demilitarize, and to negotiate with the separatists. None of this is likely to be acceptable to the Ukrainian government. President Zelensky issuing a strong and defiant message, saying, "We want peace, but we have a right to self-defense."
Зараз немає жодних причин.
In a rousing address to the nation, he said, "We are on our land and we owe nothing to anyone." It's a view shared by the mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klitschko, a former world heavyweight boxing champion. He may have hung up his gloves a long time ago, but he knows that the time may soon be here where he has to fight once more.
As former soldier, I promise if my country needs me, I'm ready to fight for my hometown, for my home country.
All right, so let's bring in Ian Panel live again tonight from the Ukrainian capital. And Ian, you know, the U.S. Secretary of State Blinken, just before we came on the air, saying he's now canceled his meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov in Europe. It had been scheduled for later this week. And Ian, do we know anything tonight about what might be happening in eastern Ukraine now that Putin has given the green light for Russian troops to move in?
Yeah, it's a good question because attention is focused elsewhere, but there has been a massive increase in shelling in that area. The body that monitors the number of ceasefire violations registered around 300 incidents a day throughout last year. Today, that number was 2,000. And I think most worrying is that the rebels continue to accuse the Ukrainian military of launching offensive operations, not offering any evidence. But this suggests that despite all these developments, the recognition of independence, everything that Putin has said, that they're still building a pretext for a potentially much larger military invasion. David?
Ian Panel leading us off again tonight from Ukraine. Ian, thank you.
ABC News. ABC News is a source for this. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Zelensky, the Ukraine president, but I don't know if he's in denial. I feel like maybe he's in denial, that perhaps he feels like if I don't fight back, I don't provoke these people, I don't respond, then they'll go away. I think because this has been going on for months, they've said years, that he doesn't think that Mr. Putin will press forward, but he is pressing forward. He put those men on the ground for a reason. Now, if there are some women fighting, I don't know, but I'll just say men. He put those soldiers on the ground for a reason, and the satellite has spoken. They can see them moving forward, not backwards. So therefore, Mr. Zelensky, you need to take heed, because from the numbers that I gave the other day, you are not nowhere near prepared to go to war with Russia. And I think whoever was the president before you did not take Mr. Putin seriously beforehand. And now the time has come. He's been playing hopscotch with you all. And now he has pressed forward. Prayers for the Ukraine. And those two said areas that I believe are going to be infiltrated by Russia. I don't understand the mindset of anyone wanting to infiltrate a place and possibly demolish a place, even hold the people captive. I've got information that allegedly wants to send them to camps. So we're talking about days of Hitler resurfacing in 2022. That will never happen. I don't see it happening. I do believe that's when America will possibly try to intervene, and other countries will intervene if we're getting ready to go back to the days of Hitler. And I don't know who came up with that notion that he wants to send said people to camps, but it will be all out war if that actually happens, and I'm not praying for that, and I'm not claiming that. I'm not even claiming the war, let alone concentration camps. Mr. Putin, you need to go find Jesus. There's something wrong with you. You are a mad narcissist, sociopath, and you need to sit down because you're getting ready to endanger lives for no reason. Those people are at peace where they are. They like things the way they are, then leave them alone. You cannot just take possession of a land. Hitler did it, and it was mad destruction when he did it. Same thing with slavery. It's the same thing. You cannot just go kidnap people, bring them somewhere, auction them off, make them work for you for free for hundreds of years, Same thing with kidnapping people, bum rushing their house, killing them, taking them to a land and making them work, holding them in boxes as slaves. Same thing with the Jews. It's the same thing. You have no right. Prayers for the Ukraine. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you need verification for the information, it is on my community board via YouTube Q. Thank you so much. This is a multifaceted live pertaining to breaking news. The main story will be discussed at the end of these news updates. Thank you so much. The next story is pertaining to Ahmad Aubrey. His killers have been found guilty in federal hate crimes trial. BNC is the source. Thank you so much.
Breaking news that we're following right now. The jury has now reached its verdict in the federal hate crimes trial involving Ahmad Aubrey. The jury had to decide whether the three white men committed the crime of chasing, cornering, and killing Aubrey because of the color of his skin. Travis and Gregory McMichael, along with William Roddy Bryant, all were charged with interference in his rights, which is a hate crime. All have now been found guilty of those federal hate crimes charges. Once again, the verdict now coming in just moments ago from Brunswick, Georgia. This is the federal case involving Ahmad Aubrey.
Hello, Marie.
Gregory and Travis McMichael, the father and son who chased him, and the father who actually pulled the trigger, and William Roddy Bryant, the man who videotaped it all with a cell phone, have all three been found guilty of violating the civil rights of Ahmad Aubrey.
All right, everybody, that's BNC. For those of you who are not familiar with this network, it is a network pertaining to African-American news and stories. If you need verification, it is on my community post via the YouTube Q. Thank you very much. Case number 3, Robert Sylvester Kelly. Robert, you just won't be still. Woo, mercy. Here we go, everybody. Billboard is the source. Thank you for joining me. I get back to these stories, don't like to stay on for some reason. The legal beat. R.Kelly throws ex-legal team under the bus. I don't know why this story will not come up for some reason. This is strange. Okay, you guys, hold on. For some reason, this story doesn't want to upload. It does this. If you hear noise in the background, it's raining here. Sorry. Okay, I'm trying to find the latest one. Rolling Stone is the source. R. Kelly seeks acquittal or new trial after racketeering and sex trafficking conviction. R. Kelly and his new lawyer, Jennifer Bongine, filed motions late Thursday, which asks he be acquitted, or at the very least, for him to be given a new trial after the singer's conviction in New York federal court of racketeering, sexual exploitation of a child, and kidnapping in September. The notice of motion for a new trial filed in the United States District Court of Eastern District of New York and obtained by Rolling Stone claims Kelly was denied his Sixth Amendment rights. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the rights of criminal defendants, including the right to a timely public trial, the right to a lawyer, the right to an impartial jury, and the right to know who is making the accusations and the nature of the charges and evidence involved. Among the arguments alleged in the motion is that Kelly was denied effective assistance of counsel when he came to examining potential jurors. It also claims, let me repeat that again. Among the arguments alleged in the motion is that Kelly was denied effective assistance of counsel when he came to examining potential jurors. It also claims counsel didn't challenge unqualified jurors. Well, what does that have to do with the trial? This is crazy. It cites that some of the jurors saw the docuseries Surviving R.Kelly or knew about the prior sexual abuse of minors, accusations against Kelly, which resulted in a jury that was neither far nor impartial. It also alleges that Kelly's former counsel was engaged in conflict of interest, claiming that one of his trial attorneys was simultaneously representing the defendant of a prosecutor's star witness known as Jane. In a subsequent hearing over the matter, the court concluded that the lawyer had an attorney-client relationship with Jane while representing Kelly, creating a conflict of interest. Kelly waived the conflict of interest, although the motion alleges this was an unwaivable conflict and therefore Kelly was prejudiced, by the conflict of interest and is entitled to a new trial. In separate paperwork filed on Thursday, Bongine argued for a judgment of acquittal, claiming that the government failed to prove the racketeering charge as well as the other 8 counts in the indictment. Kelly was convicted of 1 count of racketeering and 8 counts of violating the Mann Act, the law which prohibits sex trafficking across state lines. And it further alleges that the RICO, Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations, prosecution against Kelly was a means to punish him for alleged crimes that could no longer be prosecuted by state and local agencies, rather than it being about criminal activity of an enterprise, it adds. The government's belated interest in protecting defendants' alleged victims does not justify application of the RICO statute to alleged private sexual misconduct of the defendant and the only defendant, even if some of that conduct could have been timely prosecuted by local authorities long ago. RICO is typically used to combat organized crime. Kelly's counsel argued that the government did not establish an enterprise, which is one of the bases for a RICO conviction. It lists several arguments, including claiming that Kelly's employees did not share the common purpose of recruiting women for illegal sexual activity, that the government failed to prove that the purpose of the enterprise was distinct from the racketeering activities, and that it did not prove a pattern of racketeering. It also claims there was insufficient evidence in the prosecution's arguments of bribery, sexual exploitation of a child, violations of the Mann Act, forced labor, and sexual exploitation. Kelly also faces a federal trial in Chicago for sex crimes and child pornography. The jury trial is currently set for August. Lord have mercy, give me strength. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, Crystal. Thank you all, mods. Robert Kelly, give it a rest. They found you guilty. There's not going to be too many people in America, white, black, Jew, Arab, that do not know your name, have not heard of you liking little girls and boys. Everybody and their mama knows your name. I don't give a damn if they live in China, Iraq, Ukraine. They have heard of you. They've heard of your music. They've heard of your salacious acts, your taste for children. Where do you think you're going to find 12 people in this country that don't know your damn name? The Amish are probably the only ones that don't know your damn name. Now stop this foolishness. As far as your counsel not being effective, well, these are the people that you chose, remember? Because you booted out the last one. You booted him out and you chose these people. So what is the problem? They didn't choose you. So now all of a sudden you got this other lady. Now you've gotten rid of these other people. Naturally, you would be in cahoots with a woman. I rest my case. Robert, you know you have done some filthy, dirty things with children, women. Whether the women were above age or not, you still were not the best man you could be, and that was your choice. You did have aid from different women and men to pick up girls, fly them here and there, travel them around, bus, car, plane, buying tickets. Remember, you can't read or write. So that's where the racketeering comes in. Other people formulated things for you. You told Gail that in an interview, remember? Oh, it's my first time opening a bank account. I've never had a bank account. Well, then that means who was paying these people? Your entourage. You can't read or write. Stay woke. Who was picking up the girls from one place to the other, flying them here and there? You were doing that. You orchestrated, and they worked for you. And they did the deeds for you. So just stop it. Just stop it. And racketeering does not have to apply to drug trafficking, weapons, mob-style activities, hijacking cars, trucks, crates of furniture, stolen goods. They applied to gangbanging. They applied it to the mob originally, and now they applied it to Robert Sylvester Kelly. That's the end of the story. Let it go. Rolling Stone is the source. Next story. Lord have mercy. This is a doozy. If you're just now falling into the chat, I've discussed the situation with Ukraine and Russia. It looks like it's a go for Russia to invade Ukraine. Prayers to the Ukrainian people. The next story I brought you is the 3 bums have been found guilty in a federal trial, violating Mr. Aubrey's civil rights. Was deemed a hate crime. They have been found guilty on all said charges. I've also brought you commentary pertaining to Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly, wanting a new trial. Nobody really cares. Life is short, Robert. We're trying to live. What you should do is be thankful you don't have COVID anymore. Just let it go. My next source is coming out of Miami, Florida. Thank you for joining me. Well, Kelly, since you don't know him, they can pick you for a juror because he wants a new trial. And he wants somebody that don't know him. So you can call the district attorney's office and the state's office, whatever, in New York and tell him you want to be a juror. Says he's so concerned about having an unfair trial. All right, everybody. This case is coming out of Florida. Thank you for joining me.
Of duty for allegedly breaking into her ex-boyfriend's Miramar home. Officer Shalandra Battle is accused of unlawfully getting into his work vehicle and stealing his garage clicker. Once inside the garage, detectives say she destroyed his Ring camera security system, causing up to $900 in damage.
Okay, that was a short storyline pertaining to this crazy woman out of Florida. She has not been charged yet. They are currently investigating this woman by the name of Shalandra Battle. She is a police officer who has been relieved of her duties as a cop, so that means she can't walk around with a gun, so she's probably somewhere shuffling papers in the basement. She broke into her ex-boyfriend's car, stole the garage clicker out of the car, which means she knew where it was. He stupidly left it in there, duh. And she broke into his garage and destroyed camera items in his house. Why she did that, I don't know. This is a very dizzy broad. This is an African-American female. For those who are curious, I want to talk to Miss Battle for a minute. Miss Battle, interesting last name you have, Battle. You went to battle on that day when you broke in your ex-boyfriend's car and his house. Why would you do that, ma'am? You are an officer of the law. Taxpayers pay your salary and your due bills. So instead of you upholding the law, you're sitting here walking around mad at the world because some man doesn't want you. Well, join the I don't want that woman club. You won't be the first and you won't be the last. And that's very unprofessional of you to go break into his car and go into his garage and tear up his personal effects, Miss Battle. Now, Miss Battle, you know better. Naturally, Miss Battle is going to be backed by the union, police union of her area. So we will see what happens to her. Will they let her go? Go to my community page and put a yes or no if you think that she should be fired from her job, not just relieved of duty, fired and prosecuted. Please go to my community board where you see the said video pertaining to Miss Battle and put a yes or no in the chat. If you cannot answer, don't respond. Thank you. Just a simple yes or no that she should be fired and prosecuted. That's a 2-part question. This commentary is coming out of Miami, Florida. Thank you all for joining me. WPLG, Local 10 News is the source. Woo, mercy. Those falling into the chat, I brought you news about Ukraine and Russia. Ahmad Aubrey's killers have been found guilty in a federal trial of hate crimes against Mr. Aubrey, who's no longer living. I brought you information pertaining to Robert Sylvester Kelly, who's wanting a new trial, and he's crying and moaning inside of the jail. He's also facing a trial in Chicago, Illinois later this year. And I also brought you commentary of an African-American female cop in Miami who broke into her ex-lover's car, stole the garage clicker, and broke into his garage and damaged his said camera items in his home. She's been a busy, busy bee. Now for the main story. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $DeGanji, 129 Cash App. Also, be chat to welcome during the live. I will drop the link because I want you to get a gist of what is going on out in Texas pertaining to Darion Brown. I'm a few days late on this information. I didn't even get a notification that anything had transpired pertaining to Darion Brown. But we're going to roll with it. Thank you for joining me. I will also bring you commentary from Psychiatry and Society that will lay out the foundation of what it means to be deemed incompetent. He will, this gentleman, lay out the do's, the don'ts, at what point you're incompetent. He will give you that set of information so you can better understand what it means to be incompetent at that time. At that time. Also at the time of the crime. That will be laid out. All right, everybody. Fox 4 News is the source. Thank you for joining me. All information is related on my community post for the said information I'm giving to you right now, except for the story pertaining to Robert Sylvester Kelly. Thank you.
Murdering a 4-year-old Dallas boy after taking that sleeping child from his bed will not stand trial anytime soon. Hello, I'm Steve Eager.
I'm Heather Hayes. Darion Brown was declared incompetent for trial. Police say Brown kidnapped 4-year-old Cash Gernon and repeatedly stabbed him. The boy's body was found on a neighborhood street. Fox 4's Alex Boyer takes us through the latest in this case. Alex.
Hi, guys. And this is the decision that his defense team was really hoping for. They maintained that Brown was hallucinating and in a trance-like state at the time of the murder and also suffers from other major depressive orders. Well, the prosecution brought in its own medical expert who also concluded that Brown is incompetent to stand trial. Inside this Dallas County courtroom Friday, a magistrate declared capital murder suspect Darion Brown incompetent to stand trial.
He can finally now get the help that he needs so that he can assist us in his representation.
Heath Harris and Valerie Baston are Brown's defense attorneys. Brown was arrested last May and later indicted for the murder of 4-year-old Cash Gernon. Investigators said Brown was the man seen on home surveillance video taking Gernon from the bedroom where he was sleeping. Gernon was in the care of a woman who lived in a home off Saddle Ridge Drive in Dallas. She knew Brown. Gernon's body was found by a jogger 8 blocks away from the home on a neighborhood street the next morning. Investigators said the boy was stabbed to death.
Maybe someday we can, get to the facts of this case, which we believe are going to show that he does have a mental defect that potentially may have led to this tragedy, and that he may be entitled to an insanity defense.
The competency decision was made after the prosecution's own psychiatric expert determined after conducting a mental evaluation that Brown was unfit to stand trial. The defense's doctor came to the same conclusion months ago.
Both reports basically reflect what Mr. Harris and I have been experiencing with our client, Darryinn, that he is not competent and that he needs to get treatment.
Harris says Brown will likely be transferred to Vernon Psychiatric Hospital once a bed opens up.
Our society has rules regarding competence.
Dr. Robert Sanders is a former prosecutor and defense attorney. Sanders says it's possible Brown will never be deemed competent to stand trial.
Wow.
If he is, and the defense does indeed raise an insanity defense, the prosecution will have the burden to prove Brown knew that his actions were wrong.
In order for that insanity defense to work, he's got to be insane at the time of the act.
Right.
Brown's defense team knows the public wants answers.
We ask people to be patient in forming their opinions or their judgment about this.
And I contacted the district attorney's office after the hearing. A spokeswoman tells me that at this point, they have no comment.
All right, everybody. That is said information coming out of Texas. Fox 4, Dallas, Fort Worth, pertaining to Darion Brown. Let me say something before I play this information. Very valid point Mr. Harrison made. He needs help, obviously. And the fact that the prosecutor and the defense attorneys both believe he's incompetent, that should tell you something right there. Because rarely do the two meet up and mesh. Perhaps Darion Brown is very ill. He's been very ill. His behavior has been ill, but deemed that he knew what he was doing to an outsider. But that's the thing about not knowing people. Sometimes how something looks isn't how it actually is. Perhaps Darion Brown is very, very disturbed. He's a disturbed child, grown up now. He was disturbed when he was lurking through the neighborhoods, breaking in people's things, attempting to break in people's vehicles, messing with their said cameras, stealing that child out that house that time. Perhaps he's just a very ill person. Perhaps he is also schizophrenic, because one thing about schizophrenia is that the mind is telling the person to do things. There's somebody, an entity inside of the head of the person telling them, do this, say this. They're after you. The Martians are coming, on and so forth. And that is a very dangerous situation to have thoughts of doing misdeeds, but you don't really want to do them. It is because you believe someone or something is telling you to do those said things. This is a very, very sick story all around, because the child should be still here. And it's not his fault that somebody ill, let's just say perhaps he is ill, took his life for whatever reason. And the most baffling part, besides the death of the child, the brutal death of the child, is the fact that one child was left behind. And if we are to believe that's Mr. Brown on the camera, going back into the house that morning, looking over at the alternate brother, what were the voices saying then, if indeed he is ill? Why didn't he take the second child? Because you do hear him mumbling something on the audio of that said video. What was he saying to himself? It's a very interesting story. I'm going to play you audio pertaining to mental illness. Excuse me. Thank you all for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Psychiatrist Society is the source. 12 minutes, if you don't mind hanging in there. Thank you so much.
What I want to do is, this time, is carry on a little more with the role that psychiatrists have been playing in the courtroom, to illustrate a little bit more about why we don't need them. Not that the issues that they're asked to help us with will disappear, but that we can do a better job if they were not getting in the way. And I'm speaking now of this question of competency for trial. So let me explain a little bit that the issues in competency for trial have to do with the current state of mind of the accused. We've been talking in the past about it, like an insanity or diminished capacity. That has to do with a defense that relates to your state of mind when you committed a crime sometime in the past. We've also spent some time talking about danger and whether psychiatrists can help us with future behavior. Danger implies something you might do in the future. And you know by now, of course, that I don't think psychiatrists can help us with either one of those. Past state of mind, future danger. But then we have present. Competency for trial deals with the question of, at the time that the trial is going to happen, are you able to understand the charges against you, or are you so out of touch with reality or mentally disordered that you don't understand the charges against you? Or even if you are able to understand the charges against you, are you able to rationally assist your attorney And if you're not able to do either one of those things at the present time of the trial, then you could be found by a judge, usually a judge, I guess it could be a jury trial, but normally it's a judge. You could be found incompetent to stand trial and given the benefit, I put it in quotes because I don't accept their, but you'll hear about that in a minute. You will receive treatment in a hospital to help you regain your competence. So it's supposed to be something we grant you as a grace so that you don't have to go to trial and face the possibility of being found guilty and being punished if you're not in a condition to get a fair trial. Now, I can't say that it's never worked out that way, but I can say, based on my own experience studying such cases and testifying about the inability of psychiatrists to help us determine whether somebody's competent, that it doesn't work out that way in case after case. It ends up being a way in which tremendous injustice can be perpetrated, either on the accused, where they end up being locked up and have things done to them that can be very dangerous and against their will, without ever having been found guilty of anything, or it can be unfair to society because a person can end up being released.
Exactly.
And more or less not being held accountable for what they did. And either one of those is wrong, and psychiatry contributes to that. So let me give you one example where it's the individual who is the victim of injustice. This was a gentleman who had been accused of an assault. Now, I was not party to the trial of whether, or the facts of whether he the facts were good in that case. So we have to leave it there. He was accused of it. He was innocent until proven guilty. He never had a trial because his attorney decided to enter a plea that his client was incompetent to stand trial. Now, that can be done without the consent of the person. And it was decided that he was incompetent to stand trial. He was then put in a mental hospital. He didn't want to be in that mental hospital. He didn't want to get the treatments that they insisted he get, which was mainly medications. And because he would not accept these treatments, or was only reluctant to do it and wouldn't talk in these various therapy modalities, they were not willing to release him year after year after year. He was called a schizophrenic. And I can tell you from my own experience that that label really tells you nothing, because if you don't get a very serious diagnosis attached to your record, then it'll look kind of unusual that a person will be held there year after year if he's not a schizophrenic. So it's a self-justifying kind of label which protects the hospital and the psychiatrists. And that's what this man had been labeled, as a schizophrenic. Year after year, he'd been continued to be labeled as schizophrenic because he was not participating in therapy. That was the basic issue of it. He was not participating. Eventually, I got a communication from him and his lawyer asking me if I would be willing to look into the case. I agreed to do that, and when I went and interviewed him, I found nothing irrational about the man. I found that he could tell me about the facts of his original case. He told me about his treatment and how he did not want to be there. He wanted to go to trial. He wanted to see whether he would be found guilty or not guilty and accept his punishment. That's what happened. The psychiatrist wouldn't agree until finally I wrote a report, and eventually that report, I think, and other factors led to an arrangement being made in which the court agreed that he would not be continued to be held in the hospital. He would be put on a conservatorship instead of being incompetent to stand trial. So in other words, for practical purposes, after serving 10 years in confinement, It was a hospital, but it's a prison. Basically, if you're in a building that you can't leave, it's another form of a prison. So after 10 years for something he'd never been convicted of, he was finally released on a conservatorship, meaning he would have to stay on medications for the rest of his life, in all likelihood. Of course, I didn't follow him for the rest of his life, but in my judgment, it's very likely that he would be kept on those medications under the threat that if he refused to take them, he would be put back in the mental hospital again. In his case, what you end up with is a life of either out-and-out confinement in a building somewhere or chemical confinement with medication, drugs that he didn't want to take. And I submit to you that that is a corruption of the original intention of the law to supposedly do this person a service by giving him an opportunity to become competent to go to trial. It becomes a perversion of initially what I...
Whoops, sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, okay, hold on one second, guys. Hold on.
Either a life sentence or a long confinement because it becomes medicalized. In essence, his refusal to participate in treatment was labeled as a disorder. So there you have injustice to the person accused. Now let's talk about injustice to society. Because after all, a prosecutor in a criminal trial represents the people. Doesn't always work out that way, as I'm pretty sure you probably know. But that's the theory. The people versus John Smith. So that was a case in Hawaii where a young man had been apprehended and the evidence was very strong. There really wasn't any doubt about it after I studied the case. Nobody was contending that he was the one who was tricking young girls through various ruses of being injured into helping him. And when they tried to help him, he was then assaulting them and raping them. And he was eventually caught, and he was examined by psychiatrists hired by the defense, who ultimately concluded that this man had a multiple personality. And it really wasn't the man on trial who had done it, but it was his other personality.
Wow.
Let me just tell you now, although we can perhaps get into another whole session, that there is no such thing as multiple personalities. It doesn't exist.
Wow.
It was an invention that came from psychiatry and lasted a long time, and it's still, in many people's minds, they believe it happens because they've seen it in the movies or read about it, or trials in which it was entered as a defense. But it's an invention. But this man was successful in being found not guilty by reason of insanity because the court accepted the idea that it was the other personality that had done it, but now that other personality had been pushed back into the background, was no danger that other personality was going to come out, and so he was not guilty. Now, I submit to you that that is an injustice to society because we allowed people to be qualified as expert witnesses to make claims that have absolutely no scientific basis and corrupt the thinking of either a judge or a jury, whichever was deciding the case. So let me finish by just illustrating why it's so clear that we don't need them in trials of competency to stand trial. I'm not arguing that we shouldn't have a provision for a person to regain their ability to stand trial. I think it's vastly overused, but never are psychiatrists able to help. They have no tests or examinations which are nearly as good as simply the evidence of their behavior around the time that the trial is taking place. There are people who are observing the person. They will have been arrested, or there wouldn't be a trial. Observers of the person's behavior, even the impressions of a judge in court, All this will allow you to decide, the court to decide, does the person understand the charges? Is the person's behavior such that they can be worked with? It's an invention that allows psychiatry to corrupt the process. So it would be really quite easy to simply get them out of it, and there would be few findings of incompetency for trial. There are some situations where prosecutors have abused the system, and they're the ones who enter the plea that the person's incompetent because they get the person locked up even though they haven't proved any guilt. It's time to stop it. You don't need it. It's just the corruption of the system. Thanks a lot for coming. See you next time.
Woo, Lordy, that man. Psychiatric Society. I don't know about him. I don't know if he's somebody people should be listening to because we've always heard about the split personality over the years. You're entitled to your opinion if you believe it or not. I'm going to bring you one more commentary pertaining to Darion Brown, and then we'll get into the discussion of Darion Brown. But that, I don't know about this man here. I just played it. I was looking in the queue trying to find something pertaining to incompetency. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Interesting indeed. So if that's the case, if you're going to say that there's no such thing as split personality, then all the other terminologies that they come up with or have come up with in history, we all could denounce everything that's ever been said about schizophrenia, as you say, split personality, dissociative personality, being a narcissist, blah, 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 OCD. So we could just go down the list and say, well, that's not true. That's not true. That doesn't happen. That's not the truth. No, there's no such thing as addiction then. Let's just go there. There's no such thing as being addicted to anything. You just did it because you wanted to. You do what you want. Just saying. I don't know about this fella. I don't know. I'd have to see some more studies pertaining to his theory. This just made up. Psychiatry just made it up. Well, everything's made up. Somebody said 1 + 1 is 2. And you heard it enough, you believed it. 2 + 2 is 4. You heard it enough, you believed it. Stay woke. That's the point of anything. You believed it because somebody told you that's what it is. If you didn't know anything about math, division, stay woke. And how would you know a dollar bill is actually a dollar bill? You've only been told it's a dollar because there's a 1 on it. We believe that 1 is singular. See where I'm going? Very interesting. Crime Online is the source. Cash Gurnan, man who kidnapped sleeping boy, stabbed him dead, found incompetent to stand trial. Criminal proceedings against a man who allegedly kidnapped a young boy from his bed and stabbed him to death have been halted indefinitely after a judge's ruling, the Dallas Morning News reports. On Friday, Magistrate Judge Farrell Chapman found Darion Brown incompetent to stand trial on a capital murder charge in connection with the death of 4-year-old Cash Gurnan. Brown is accused of abducting Gurnan around 5 a.m. on May 15th at a home near Dallas. Investigators believe Brown took the boy to a trail in the neighborhood, fatally stabbed him, and then placed his body in the street, according to court records obtained by the newspaper. A woman found the boy's body later that morning in a pool of blood about 8 blocks from the house where he had been staying, WFAA-TV reports. 2 doctors, one hired by the defense and the other by the prosecution, concluded that Brown is incompetent. Brown was 18 years old at the time of the crime, according to the television station. As a result, Chapman ordered that Brown be treated by the North Texas State Hospital System. He could later be found competent and stand trial. Inside this article, you will see a picture of the young boy. He had longer hair at the time, very nice looking young baby doll. He can finally get the help that he needs so he can assist us in his representation, Brown's defense lawyer, Keith Harris, told KDFW-TV. Incompetency means Brown is unable to understand the court proceedings and assist in his own defense. It is different from whether Brown was legally insane when he committed the crime. Let me say that again. Incompetency means Brown is unable to understand the court proceedings and assist in his own defense. It is different from whether Brown was legally insane when he committed the crime. Harris is expected to mount an insanity defense in which a defendant acknowledges committing the crime acts, but argues they did not understand the distinction between right and wrong, the newspaper reports. Brown reportedly suffers from mental health challenges, including schizophrenia, and has said that he was hearing voices when he abducted the boy, according to the Dallas Morning News. Now, naturally, I didn't hear any of this information beforehand. They hinted that the child had something wrong with him, but they did not say verbatim in the sources I brought to you almost a year ago. This commentary is saying that he suffers from mental health challenges, including schizophrenia, and has said that he was hearing voices when he abducted the boy. Okay? Security camera footage shows Brown standing over Gurney and his twin brother, picking Gurney up and walking out of the room. Brown is seen returning to the room around 7:30 a.m., lifting a blanket up, walking around the room, and then leaving again with nothing in his hands. If convicted, Brown faces the death penalty or life in prison without parole. However, if Brown is found to have been insane, authorities would be prohibited from executing him. Interesting. Months before the killing in an unrelated case, Brown allegedly walked into another home, punched the 70-year-old homeowner, and grabbed the man's 2-year-old granddaughter. The homeowner was eventually able to retrieve the girl, according to court records obtained by the newspaper. Crime Online is the source. A lot of information to chop up. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. This is the final story of the evening. Darion Brown has been deemed incompetent by both the prosecutor and the defense attorneys representing him. Thank you all so much for joining me. 1 second, please. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your patience. Those falling into the story, this was a multi-topic live. R.Kelly wanting a new trial. The Ukraine-Russian conflict. Russia's pressing forward into the two territories in Ukraine. A Miami cop, female cop, African-American female, broke into her ex-lover's car, stealing the garage clicker out of the car and then opening up his garage and vandalizing his cameras inside of his home. Ahmad Aubrey's killers have been found guilty of racial injustice against him in a federal trial. All three have been found guilty. And the last story is pertaining to Darion Brown. Darion Brown has been deemed incompetent by both sides. Did Darion Brown know what he was doing last spring? Is he ill? It says that he's schizophrenic, so that's one big major illness to combat. The commentary I brought you, this doctor or whomever he is, speaks of split personalities not being real, made up by psychiatrists. As I said, if that's the case, we could argue everything that's ever been said by a psychiatrist. Did he have another persona luring him to this house to kill the said child? Was the intention to also kill the other child, but he got spooked? That was said in an article. I don't know if that's true or not, because to me, it seems like he didn't really care. He went in there once. He came back in the morning, which is very weird to me. We'll get to that. If he's let go, because he is found incompetent even during trial, Will they let him out of a hospital? Then, God forbid, he kills again. Then what? Because that has happened. A case such as this happened in Detroit or Michigan area. Black man killed several people and let go from a mental hospital. Stay woke. Or a mental prison, which is soever, to only do it again. So now imagine state letting you out after killing a few people, which that's unheard of, especially being an adult. And then you go out here and murder somebody else. So obviously, the prison system got it wrong by letting you out. Mental hospital, which is soever. We know that there are a lot of mental hospitals that no longer exist in America, but we have a lot of mentally ill people on the streets who do need round-the-clock supervision inside of a facility. And those people are wandering around and they have nobody to watch them. So what has to happen with this Darion Brown? What will be said pertaining to his mental state? Was he incompetent or mentally disturbed at the time of the murder? He has now been deemed incompetent, and it is also said in the commentaries that I brought you that if he was deemed incompetent right now to stand trial, then 9 times out of 10, he was incompetent when he killed the little boy. That makes logical sense to me. You can't really have one without the other, can you? The death sentence. It is said that if he is deemed incompetent during trial, you cannot put Darion Brown to death. How do you feel about that? So then that means he'd have to go to a mental institution in Texas or available state and or a mental ward of a said prison. How long has Darion Brown been ill with mental defects? When was he diagnosed as a schizophrenic? Most people are diagnosed with schizophrenia late in life, not early on. I had a relative once who was diagnosed schizophrenia. I never knew it. I didn't know it until after one night. She was approached me and some people sitting out. I was younger then. She saw us sitting out on a car. We were talking, doing what young people do. And she said to my other cousin, "Hey, you got to come up here to the house. Somebody's trying to break in my house." See, this is where you know she's not well, because think about what she said. Someone's trying to break into my house. But yet she's down here with us telling us about it, which means she walked out of the house. So if a person was truly afraid, they wouldn't walk out of the house. So they wouldn't bump into the person trying to break in their house. Listen to what I'm saying to you. But if your mind is defective, you would walk out of the house because you don't know that there's really nobody out there banging on the door trying to break in your house. That's what something in her mind told her, that there's a guy out there trying to get in. So she walks out of her house, gets into her car, and drives down to an entirely different neighborhood to tell us that someone was trying to break in her house. So I go to my aunt's house with her, another cousin, to tell her, hey, there's something going on with her. She thinks somebody's trying to break in her house. And my aunt was upset, ranting and raving, going off on her. So I was like confused at what was going on. And she was basically telling her, I can't do this. I can't keep dealing with this. So I was befuddled because obviously I missed the boat. But what had been going on was she was obviously having issues that I did not know about. So in privacy, my aunt told me her sister was schizophrenic. Of course, she goes on and say, well, you know, all those books she kept reading, that crazy Stephen King stuff, that wasn't helping. Probably not. But that's the point. When was she diagnosed? How long was she sick? and possibly watching and listening to a lot of make-believe, horrific tales of macabre doesn't help a fragile mind. That's probably the last thing a schizophrenic needs is listening to and watching and reading Stephen King novels. I would agree with that. But nonetheless, the woman was ill, and I did not have any knowledge of that. But it was kind of off-putting to see this woman swearing for God that somebody was trying to break in her house, and she believed it. And that's the part that I'm trying to explain to the chat, is that in her mind, she thought someone was outside of that door. But her other mind made her walk out of the door, past what would be an imaginary burglar. Stay woke. Thank you all for joining me. Do not mention any YouTubers in my chat. If you'd like to join the panel to give your commentary pertaining to Darion Brown being incompetent to stand trial, please hit the link. This should be a very interesting case, because I'm wondering now, when will they press forward to try to go to trial? Mr. Harrison is basically saying he can't assist me. He's not well. So then what will happen if he can't even get an understanding out of the defendant of what happened on that fateful morning? All right, everybody. That is the said commentary pertaining to Darion Brown. If you have something you would like to say pertaining to Darion Brown, this case, the link is available. Thank you so. If not, I will conclude this live. Thank you so much for joining me. And you are free to give your commentary pertaining to the other stories in the live pertaining to the Miami cop who's been relieved of her duties pending an investigation of her breaking into her ex-boyfriend's car and home. The trial pertaining to Ahmad Aubrey. The 3 cohorts have been found guilty of violating his civil rights. The Ukraine-Russia conflict crisis. R.Kelly wanting a new trial. I think I touched on those subject matters. Thank you so much for joining me. #106 viewing. Thank you so kindly. Well, we will wait and see what Mr. Harrison comes up with pertaining to what is found. Darion Brown, if he has any other mental disorders besides schizophrenia, if he was indeed ill at the time of the murder of Cash Gurnan. It's be a very interesting information. Well, Soul Survivor, you're welcome to come hit the link, darling. I haven't heard from you. Feel very free. It has been raining hard all day here in the high 10. Very, very wet here. I got caught up in that mess this evening. Thank you, Miss Brandy. Thank you so much. Well, that's the said information, you guys. If you need to recap any of the information I brought you, feel free to go back to the beginning of this live. As I said, this is a multi-topic live. I decided to put several topics in one live. Thank you, Val. Yes, thank you, T. The Queen's pick of a movie this week, choice of movie is The Rental. Some friends rent an Airbnb, and while taking a shower, one of the women notices a camera inside of the shower head. And there ensues their conversations and fears that they are being watched by the owner of the said house. It's up to you to decide if it is the owner, outside party, or one of the friends. Rental is now showing on Showtime. Thank you very much. You can go to my community board to get the said video, to watch the trailer, to Rental, and other movie picks from the Queen. And any information I've brought to you in the live is on my community page via YouTube Q. The only story that's not in there is pertaining to Robert Sylvester Kelly. Thank you so much for joining me. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Went a slow run today, I must say. So long as you're not talking about anything else. Talk about that mess over there in Rogersville. They come a running. Good night, Brandy. Well, I figured somebody might want to give me their opinion tonight. Have a good night, dear. Good night, Molly. Well, that's my said information pertaining to Darion Brown. I don't know what's going to become of this case. Someone said in the chat that perhaps he was led there. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Maybe he was. Thank you, Jordan. Trying to find something. Hold on, you guys. Hi, Joy. How are you, sweetheart? One second, you guys. I'm doing something. What's going on, Joy? Well, you told me the other day, I try to keep up with everything. You have commentary pertaining to the said subject matter? Because I have different topics this evening. Of course, the main subject is Darion Brown. It has come to my attention that he has been deemed incompetent to stand trial by the prosecution and the defense attorneys. Okay, Joy. Well, everybody pray for Joy. Her father has had a mini stroke. T, do you know about this story pertaining to Darion Brown? Have you heard of it? I didn't know if you had heard of it or not. T, have you heard of the story pertaining to Darion Brown? Yes or no? Well, I didn't get your answer. Well, nobody has anything to say. I'm shocked. Last year they was stumbling over each other to talk about it. Now nobody has any commentary. I can't believe it. What'd you say? I've heard of it, but didn't follow it. Okay, I see. So you can't give us your commentary because you didn't follow the story. All righty. That's fine, dear. Well, we will see what happens pertaining to Darion Brown. I really don't know what to say, quite frankly. It should be a very interesting trial, I must say, if he can indeed help the defense. Okay, Val, that's fine. Well, Joy, hit the link. You all don't have to chat in the chat. Feel free to hit the link to give your opinion. Well, Joy, they say he's incompetent. Both sides have come to that conclusion. So it's not just the defense. The prosecution as well have come to the conclusion that he is incompetent to stand trial. So that leads one to believe that possibly he was incompetent or ill at the time that he killed the child. He is schizophrenic. I brought information saying that he is. We will see. Hello, Miss Guy. How are you? Well, so you don't have anything to say pertaining to Darion Brown? You all had a lot to say last year about this case. I find it strange. Nobody has anything to say about it this year. Very odd. Oh, well. Nobody has any commentary. I'm very stunned. Considering all the hoopla that went on last year with the Monica charade and all of that nonsense. My. Everybody's quiet now. All right, so where were you? Okay, that's fine then. Well, I'm going to check out of here. If you need to backtrack to the beginning of this video, feel free to replay the commentary. There are several subject matters in this live pertaining to R.Kelly, a Miami cop who broke into her boyfriend's car and home. the Ukraine Russia crisis. Also, information pertaining to the 3 culprits that murdered Ahmad Aubrey. They have been found guilty in a federal trial pertaining to racism and civil liberties. And also, I brought you information pertaining to Darion Brown. So that is the extent of this live. I'll say, what, honey? Great in the Lord always. He is number one. Thank you for asking, Queen. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to check out of here. Those are the said updates that I have so far. So since nobody in the chat knows anything about the storyline, I'm going to check out of here. Because I'm already an hour and 15 minutes in, and nobody's heard of Darion Brown. I find it very strange. Nobody's heard anything of the story. So I guess I'll just post to the community page updates pertaining to Darion Brown. So Tracy thinks Darion Brown was brainwashed and used as the fall guy. I still think it was Cam in that video taking him out of the room. Maybe, Tracy, I don't know. One problem I have, and I'm going to check out of here because I can't stay up late like this. The 8 blocks is troublesome to me. Now, I'm not saying the mind doesn't tell you that you can walk on water, fly, walk 8 miles, but something's off. That he goes in this room, kills this kid, and walks 8 miles with the child. He takes the child out of there. We're assuming he's alive when he takes the child out of the room, and then walks 8 blocks. 8 blocks is a long walk. It's not around the corner unless you're dealing with short streets. So someone is walking, an African-American male is walking in the wee hour with a white baby, 8 blocks. Make it make sense. It doesn't. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying it sounds off to me. And then he takes him through a park, kills the child, and then carries the dead body from the park. So now we have to ask ourselves, how far is the location that he dumped them near the curb of someone's home to the park? This makes no sense. Schizophrenia or not. It doesn't make any sense to me. And as I said, I'm not saying he did not do all of that. I'm just saying, to me, it makes no sense. I can't see anyone doing that in murdering someone, whether they're schizophrenic or not. It's too much. It's too much. Because my mind is telling me the part that's sane. Maybe that's the problem, because it is sane. Why didn't he kill him right there in the bed? Why not kill him right there? You're schizophrenic. Just kill him right there. Your mind is telling you to take him, to do something, or did his mind say, just take him at that time? And then his mind changed its mind somewhere on that 8 block walk with this kid. Shit don't sound right. And then he killed him on the walk. Because he doesn't have a car, allegedly. We didn't hear that he rode a bike. And then the other part of that story that's even more baffling, besides taking the child on an 8 block walk and murdering him, he returned daylight savings time. So he went home, changed his clothes, which would lead someone to think that he knew what he was doing. And then went back to Monica Sherrod's house and looked at another child in the bed, talked to himself, and walked out of the room, exited the house without bumping into anybody. Nobody finds it strange, a black boy going in and out of a white woman's house in the wee hour. Now, naturally, one will say, well, he's schizophrenic. Doesn't matter. Go in, go out. He knows that the doors are locked. Did he jimmy the lock, break a lock? See, those are the questions you have to ask. Did he jimmy a lock, break a lock, climb through a window, out a window? What? Or he went into a house that didn't have a door unlocked, didn't have a door that was locked. This woman is known to be on narcotics and drugs. a lot of traffic. So who's to say that she ever locked her door? Because a lot of drug houses, they don't lock the door. People that participate in drugs, heavy drinking, they keep a lot of traffic. People that keep people in and out of their homes, they don't lock their damn doors because there's always somebody got to be coming in, going out. We know a lot of people who don't care about anything, they ain't going to lock the door no damn way. So what are we saying here? Was the door locked or unlocked on that morning? Was he orchestrated to pick up the child, take the child on somewhere, drop the child off, come back, get the second child? Was that the plan, to off both boys? Was this an orchestration by Monica Sherrod? I think, a lot of people felt like that last year because once we found out her past of in and out of jail, narcotics, the baby daddy, he was on drugs, left the kids there with her. Who the fuck leaves their kid with an addict? Who leaves their child with an addict? I still think there's something up with the mother, the biological mother. I don't understand her. You would take your children with a man who just got a penitentiary with nothing, living with his mother's house, grandmother's house, whoever it was. Who does that? Then now you come out when the child is dead, and you're acting like you're mourning your child. And it's not to be facetious, but none of this story adds up. And this is why I always say, when shit don't add up, it's because there's something amiss in the story. All these stories I've talked about as of late are all drug related. Don't you find that interesting or ironic? Cash Gurney, drug story. Tennessee, drug story. They're always drug related. Don't you find that interesting? That all these stories you keep hearing about children missing, abused, dead, somebody was on narcotics that was supposed to be taking care of the said child. You can't make this stuff up. And my thing is, so long as you have an addict watching a child, keeping a child, anything could pop off, jump off while the child is in his or her custody. That's just common sense. Broke leg, broke femur, head, baby fell out the bed, baby fell over in a swimming pool, drowned in a bathtub, suffocated. It's all the same to me. Intentional or unintentional. It's going to be a problem and a malfunction because you're not watching the child. And when you leave a child with any Tom, Dick, and Harry, anything can happen to the child. You leave your child with people you don't know, anything can happen to the child. You leave your child with a sadist, well, then the sadist is going to abuse your child. Stay woke. Good night, Alfred. Thank you so much for joining. Just BS. 1 second. I'm live. Are you going to hit the link? Yes, I was asking you to hit the link. Okay, bye-bye. Sorry about that. That was the mod. It's a very baffling story. Something's off. And once I found out all those things about Monica Sherrod and the children coming in and out of her house, his brother hanging there, different kids hanging there, she's been in and out of jail. I thought, I don't trust her. I don't know her and I don't trust her. And if this kid's troubled, how do I know? She didn't put him up to doing something with the kids. Maybe she was tired of having those kids there, tired of taking care of them. She trusted the father, liked the father. He's a no-show, no-go, left his kids there. She don't even hear from him. But think about that. Who wants to take care of somebody's kids and the father ain't there, the mother ain't there? I don't want to take care of your kid. And you disappeared. You left your kids with me. Now I got to feed your kids, take care of your kids. Come on, let's keep it real. Why should I? I didn't ask for them. You're just going to leave your kids with me? Because you want to avoid going to jail? I don't know anything about it, Miss Marie. I don't keep up with the shenanigans going on over there in Hollerville. And I don't stay in people's chats to know what's going on. I'm not interested. Good Lord. 1 hour and 24 minutes. Gee, this is a tough crowd. You hear me?
Am I good? Am I echoing?
Yeah, you are echoing. Yes, you are, ma'am.
Okay. How about now? How about
Just
now?
go ahead. Just go ahead. I'm not gonna say
Okay. So
unless you want to jump back off and come back up.
okay, let me try and see if that'll work.
Okay. I know damn well you ain't saying Monica Sherrod is bullying anybody. She ain't in no shape to bully anybody. She know how to pop the piss in. And that's her ex-lover's new friend. So how would that work out? YouTube is so funny. YouTube is no different than the people in the storyline. Ain't y'all just figure that out? Better stay woke. Crystal's trying to make it up here. Hold on 1 second, you guys. I don't see what she's got going on here. Hello, dear.
Hello, is that any better?
Yeah, we'll try it out. What do you have to say about him being incompetent to stand trial, man?
Ooh. So I still feel that somebody helped him do something. I don't think he did it all on his own.
Do you think he's ill? Let's start there. Do you think he is ill?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I do. Just from, like from the start of everything that happened, versus like from when he went to that around the corner down the street and tried to take that little girl.
Yeah. That was in January before child.
Right. So I felt that all this time, yes, he's had trouble, and I feel that I believe that there was drugs involved. Some probably not every day, but I feel that he was, he was how can I say, he was involved in drugs.
And that will make it worse. That will make it worse. You're already ill, and you're also taking drugs.
Yeah, and he probably wasn't on his medication. He's probably given medication
too. Medicine, exactly.
Yeah, he was probably at medication. He stopped taking his medication for whatever reason.
Right.
And I think that he really, I've always felt like he had some type of mental problem, but I also feel like, okay, if he's so crazy, and how did he orchestrate all of this on his own? Is it possible? It's possible. But like you're saying, the walking with the baby, those blocks were really long.
Yeah, it's very strange. That's something that I don't quite understand. It's the 8 blocks.
Yeah, and I wish that he would just come out and just tell it all.
But if he's ill,
that would be great.
If he's ill, he can't do that.
Yeah. But you know what? But he got what they wanted. So because they can't give him the death penalty now.
Well, they got to wait first. It's not just ironclad because right now he's incompetent. His attorney says they've got to wait to see if he can come around by the time they pick, I guess, a date to go to trial.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, he better stay just like he is if he just wants to be in the mental institute. That's where you're gonna end up. Yeah. I still think
I do what I want on my channel. This is my channel. I do what I want. I don't need your permission for nothing. I do here. You worried about the wrong damn thing. Go ask your mama what she doing. Did you hear that? Crunch, crunch. If I wanted to breastfeed on the live, that'd be my business. How about that? Dizzy bitch.
Oh my goodness.
You cannot be polite. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They just come in trolling. Nothing better to do. I shouldn't even respond.
Yeah, don't give him no attention. So yeah, I think I don't know, all that just going through all the videos over and over again and
When was the last time you watched any of that content?
Well, when the news stopped talking about it.
Okay. So you're talking about last year then?
Yeah. Yeah. Right when the last time I really paid attention to it was when his attorney had said what he said, and he hasn't been back on. So that was the last I seen any of it. You know, I was really hoping that he would come out and tell the whole story.
Right.
But I know we'll never get the whole story.
Well, see, and that's the gist of it. If the child, a young man rather, is ill, schizophrenic, or whatever else is wrong with him, how would you? This told you he's incompetent to stand trial, so that means he's talking in circles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if the prosecution, for some of you that ain't really paying attention, if the prosecution has agreed, you got a very big problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not just a defense saying, "Hey, my client's jacked up."
Yeah, prosecution is even saying that. So you know that
they agreed. They agreed. They didn't have to agree. They agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he gets to go in there talking crazy, talking in circles. You don't know if he's had outbursts. So you don't know. He could have outbursts. What you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, imagine you pick your jury, you're going in there talking, and each side is, representing, giving their information. And this he starts talking about abortions and all kind of crazy nonsense during the trial. You understand?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if his mom got him help or not. I can't say. I don't know his mother, so I can't say what she did or did not do. I know that when it comes to children getting older, if indeed you are trying to get them help with medicine, this and that, you have to literally force feed the medicine down their throat. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't, make somebody take the medicine. You literally have to force it. Hey, take this medicine. You got to take this medicine. And my understanding is that he wasn't at some point staying with her. He was staying at Monica's house at some point. So see, all that troublesome for me. Grandmother, what you got going on? All that noise.
Me, nothing. Or maybe because I'm moving. Maybe because I'm moving because I'm on my phone.
Maybe I should let you talk the other way. I'm gonna ring you. Listen.
Okay.
We got too much noise.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I don't have time to beat around the bush. I'm older. I don't got time for all that nonsense. All I know is people are concerned about things that's not even important. But that's to be expected when you don't have anything to focus on. And Diva, you're not. Scratch that. Hold on one second. I'll let her talk via the phone. That's easier. Because I don't know what's going on with the background. All right. I'm going to let you talk from the phone. Huh?
Okay.
Let me see. Let me get this cord. All right. So, do you think Monica Sherrod or the son did put him up to doing this? Is that where we're going with this?
I believe that. I don't know. I really can't say that they put him up to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that he wasn't by himself. I do believe that.
And who was it, girl?
I don't know who it was, but there's no way he's gonna walk with a child.
8 blocks is extensive. Yeah, it sure was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was raining too. So I just don't see. You're gonna be, and it was a bloody crime scene, right?
I don't know all about that. I don't know if it's bloody and all that. Well, you got to remember something. All those things won't matter anyway because he's ill. So if he's ill, right, the flip side will be, okay, he could walk 8 blocks. He's got the stamina to go 8 blocks. But where the problem is carrying the child. Were you walking with him, carrying him? What? Pull him in a wagon? What? Pull him in a tote? What? Make it make sense.
Yeah, and it's raining and I don't know. I just feel somebody had help.
Okay.
Somebody helped him. They might have not helped him all the way, but he didn't do all this by himself. I don't believe that.
Okay. I got that plug beeping. I don't know what to say. The 8 blocks is what bothers me. Mm-hmm. And I need to know I need to get the proximity of the part to the house where the body was dumped. Mm-hmm. Because let's say he walked with him in the rain and then something jumped off in his head, said kill him. You still had to carry him from the park to the location where you dumped him, near the curb at that person's house. So what is the proximity from the park to that house? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he did it on his by himself. But I do think I've always thought he had some type of mental issues.
Because of the other girl?
Not just that, but just I don't know, just his demeanor, I guess you could say.
What, the peeping around and breaking into people's houses? Some people just think that he was just a thief, though. Somebody could just say he was a thief.
Yeah, that's true too. Mm-hmm.
Because he kept doing it.
Yeah.
See, that's where the problem is. People say, well, he just kept doing it over and over. This house, that house. Then he was doing it, what, outside of his neighborhood, was it not? Well, that's not really his neighborhood.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's very strange. Very, very, very strange. Well, I have other topics. What do you think about R.Kelly wanting a new trial? Because these people, ain't nobody comment on nothing. Man.
Now he needs to.
I don't know what to say about Robert.
To stop.
Robert is just.
He needs to stop.
As an old song. If you think you're lonely now.
That's right.
Wait until tonight. Boy, yeah, he's lonely. R.Kelly lonely.
I'm sure Big Bubba is going.
I can't say don't start. Do not start. Well, the 3 girl, you stupid. And the 3 cohorts that killed Ahmad Aubrey, they have been found guilty in that federal trial.
Yes,
racism.
That's good news.
Okay, that's very good news.
That lets you know. I mean, we it's getting there.
Oh yeah, it's good now.
There's some changes.
Yes, there is. Say a change gonna come. Amen.
Yeah.
Now, my other story, besides the Ukraine and the Russia conflict, let's go there, then I go to the other one. What do you feel about Russia and Ukraine?
Well, I tell you, all the government, I just don't understand. It's all about greed. That's all it is between all of the government.
So you think Putin is greedy?
To me, yeah, he's greedy. All the government is greedy. They all want to be chiefs. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Everybody want to be the chief.
Well, didn't nobody look? Didn't nobody want no Indian around no way? So you scratch that.
Right.
The Indian was never important.
That's God.
But Putin is wrong.
God will sweep it, take it all out. I mean,
Putin is wrong. What Putin is doing is so foul. It's just foul.
It is. It's
so
ugly.
Foul. It's very ugly. Yeah, he's greedy. He's just mad. He's just mad because these people have decided to move on. Something that was done years ago, let it be. They're separate. They want to be separate. Leave them alone. What is the problem? Leave them alone. They're not bothering nobody. So what's the problem?
Exactly.
They make it be something that it want to be. They were a part of Russia at one time. A part of Russia. They disbanded. It's over with. That's 30 years ago. Why are you still? Y'all want to be a dead damn horse? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, just starting problems. Just
yeah. And what I don't want America getting involved. We have done enough of that.
Right.
I don't want us doing nothing. I don't like the fact that troops were called into Poland or wherever. Why? Don't call nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Let these people figure it out. Hey, this is how I look. This Gazinski, whatever his name is, he don't seem too concerned about Putin. So my thing is, well, why should I?
Right.
I ain't gonna keep sending you no messages. Hey, look, he coming. That's all that's been going on for the past couple weeks. He coming. Nah, he ain't coming. Yeah, he is. Nah, he ain't. Yes, he is. All right, homeboy, I'm gonna go watch Netflix. You do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Because he sees that president seems a bit delusional. I think his mindset is, well, they ain't invaded before. Oh, we know about them inching close. See, you never underestimate a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And he acts like he's scared to fight them back. But then we find out they don't even have the manpower to fight back. This man, they said they got 150,000 soldiers, Russian soldiers. Are you hearing that? And what you get ready to do with your 6? Shut your mouth. As we say, it's going to be some smoke in the city. It's ridiculous. All right. My other story. This is a good one. African-American female, black cop down in Miami decided to break into her ex-boyfriend's car, steal the garage clicker, and go into his garage and vandalize his audio surveillance and surveillance equipment. Heifer, what is wrong with you?
Well, she's stupid.
Ooh,
so
look. Look, wait a minute. Do I need to call her up here? Look, do I need to call?
She destroyed all the surveillance cameras.
Wait a minute.
Still got caught.
Okay. Do I need to call her up here to Tennessee? Shut up, Queen. You hear what I said?
Yeah.
You need to come up here to Tennessee. I ain't gonna holler at you.
Wow.
So right now she's on leave, pending investigation. So my question on the community page is, should she be fired and should she also face charges?
Yes.
Yes to
crime
both?
Is a crime.
Yes, crime is a crime. Yeah.
She needs to be charged.
But what's interesting is that they're investigating, but they already know they're going to find that girl guilty because I bet you somebody else got a doorbell camera directly across the street from him house. And he probably got a doorbell camera and God knows what else. I just thought to myself, well, I guess the ding was good. My goodness gracious. Shut up, Queen.
So how did she end up getting caught?
He got surveillance cameras now. You just said it.
So what you do?
Hell, maybe he was out with Marquisha and he was looking on his phone. Damn it, this bitch came in. That broke my damn garage. She done broke my damn garage. Girl, bye.
Her whole career gone.
Yeah. Oh, nice looking young lady. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She's look. We're gonna start calling her a badass yellow girl. She got little freckles. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, my question. Look. I'm like Medea with my hand on my hip. My question. My question. Now, my question. Why you do? My question.
She did it all wrong, but she still got caught. Yeah.
My question. Now you know better, my question. Now ain't I raised you better than that? Look, my question. Ain't I raised you better than that? Now what was you doing? Breaking in him car. That let you know this heifer is showing up crazy. She crazy as Darion Brown. She done broke in the car, not the garage. I beat that.
And took
what you get?
Broke in the car to take the remote.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. My question. You should have took Darryinn with you. Shut your mouth, Queen.
Sure should have, because he sure was getting away.
Woo! Look, he like cameras too. Shit, he ain't care.
Yeah. Sure didn't.
You know that she's really gone. That one, she's willing to risk her job as a cop. Two, breaking and entering, you just done fell all the way off. You done fell all the way off. And you broke into two things. You broke into an automobile and then you broke into the garage. Well, really, she had to break into the garage because she broke into the car and took stole the clicker. Click, click. And walked on in. But she vandalized it. So there's some nice little charges there if she's found guilty.
Wow. It's not even worth it.
But guess what? Imagine if he was home.
Oh, if he would have been home.
Oh, wait a minute. I ain't done. He was home with Lanisha. Shut up, Queen.
Oh, that would have been all bad. For her.
My question, what you doing about my house? Ooh, Lord. What it said, Miss Sophia home now. I'm dead. You can't make this stuff up. What the hell is wrong with this chick? Y'all paying y'all good taxes down there in Florida for this heifer to go sit and shuffle paper at a desk because that's what she's doing. You know she backed by the union too. She's foul, man. She's foul. We all have been there and liked her. Look, liked it somebody that didn't like us back or no longer wanted to be involved with us. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. Yeah, but don't snap.
Yeah, don't snap. I want you to try out this young lady. Listen, I found this girl in the YouTube queue called Muni Long. Woo! Girl, Crystal, that girl voice is bad. She got a song called Hours and Hours. Girl, I listened to that all the way down the highway tonight. She bad, baby.
What was her name?
Muni Long. M-U-N-I. She was on Jimmy Fallon last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't watch the video of her Jimmy Fallon, but I'm gonna go in the queue and watch it when I'm done with this live. But honey, she got a song called Hours and Hours. And when I tell you that song is bad, do you hear me? Honey, when she sit there talking about I want to look at you for hours and hours. I want to talk to you for hours and hours. I was like, oh Lord. Queen don't need to be listening to this. Queen don't need to be listening to this. I'm hooked. Val says she dealt with it. Yeah, you dealt with it, but you getting ready to get dealt yourself. You're gonna lose your job, plus possibly worst case scenario, she don't have a criminal record. She'll get probation and pay some fines. Fines.
Yeah, now she's
restitution. Yeah, and a criminal.
That's how old she is.
Look, she's a criminal. Smooth criminal.
Yeah. That is a shame.
Somebody put it on her playlist. Boo boo. You listen to Michael Jackson. You's a smooth criminal. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
That's sad to me. That's very sad to me. Because she knows better. Marquisha know better. She probably watching. And that bitch called me Marquisha. I did. Marquisha.
How old is she?
I don't know. She old enough to know better.
Yeah. Oh,
wait, but guess what? But you know Queen cannot wait to see what he looks like. Oh my goodness. God, somebody please. I got to see what he looks like. I got to see what he looked like. What's wrong with you? Ooh, he probably look. I bet you what? I bet you as black as that damn TV sitting right there. Bet you. I bet you. That boy, I bet you he smoked black. Watch. He smoked black. Cause you know I love all my colors of my rainbow. But I bet you that boy look like midnight. How much you want to bet?
Oh my goodness.
I bet you he black. like blue.
I gotta see it.
I can't wait to see him. But then he might look, he might be as light as she is. I don't know, but I just got a feeling he's dark skinned for some reason. She done got some of that cha-cha. she was messed up, wasn't she?
She got hooked on it.
She was singing. She would act like R.Kelly. Don't put me out. Don't put me out. Oh Jesus! What we gonna do with Robert?
Oh my God!
I mean, he just won't let it go. He will not let it go.
He's not gonna let it go.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to let it go.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a choice.
He doesn't have a choice.
He's over and he's done with. That's it.
I bet you at night Robert cries. You hear me?
Oh, I know he does.
Cry, cry, cry.
You know he does.
That's what I used to do. I bet you he sit up in there and just cry.
If he's by himself, if he's in a single cell.
I don't know. Girl, you know what? I'm trying not to laugh. Please stop.
He is.
Honey, he needs some interaction. You know damn well Robert needs some interaction. Come on, Robert, sing for us. Da-da-da. Probably out there tap dancing and every damn thing. Shut your mouth.
Right? They got their own.
But you know what's sad to me? He to me is like what I see with young people that are athletes. You have the whole world ahead of you, and you can't do one thing, which is sit your ass down and be still. That's where I had a problem. You see this with a lot of youth. They have the opportunity to play ball, and they get tangled up with guns, drugs, sexual assault, beating up girlfriends, all type of crazy nonsense. And then they're kicked out of school. Now they got a criminal record. I think that they were R.Kelly. You had the world in the palm of your hand, and you could not do right. Why? Why not?
Yeah.
But he's a sadist. He has a penchant. He has a penchant for young girls. He likes them young. That's obvious. He don't want you, 42, 45. Hell no. Oh, you cute. You look good. You wearing stilettos. Robert don't care. Nah, baby. I want her 18. That's what I want.
Yeah, he's ruined. He's ruined.
Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, it's sad to me. It's sad that you've wasted an entire life. That right now you should be sitting up on a hill, fatter than fat. You should be looking like 50 Cent right now. Shut up, Queen.
Right.
You see his big ass at the Super Bowl. I want to say all that shit you talk 50 Cent. Your ass is swole.
Hanging upside down like a bat.
Girl, you stupid.
Hey, but he still got it though.
I looked at him. I wanted to say, you ain't like Snoop. Snoop was lean. Gangster lean up in there. 50 Cent was ready for the wheelchair. I was looking at your big ass. Your ass spoke. And much shit you talk up here. Y'all was talking bad about folks. You sit up here with a damn beer belly. Hey, look. It's your, look, he was doing a remix with the birthday. It's a birthday. It's your birthday. Big ass swallow. I said, 50 Cent, y'all be shaming yourself. Somebody been feeding his tail. He been eating good.
Oh yeah, he been getting steak and potatoes.
Oh yeah. New York's been good. mighty kind. Snoop the only one keeping his good figure.
Right.
He's still lean. Well, let me tell you what I didn't like. They've been releasing footage the other day of him smoking before he performed. I thought y'all just have to release stuff. Why are you messing with that man? Will you just leave that man alone, please?
Yeah.
Everybody know he smokes. Move
Everybody.
on. Yeah, move on. Just keep it. Now, did he fall down, roll in the floor, need help up with the microphone? That'd be different.
Right.
It's just
I
sad.
thought that was a good halftime.
It was good.
I know I was up and dancing. Now it brought me back to good times.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
That was the good old days. Yeah. I didn't know that was it him or Dr. Dre about Death Row Records? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he sure did.
That's an omen right there. I thought, ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Suge Knight. What he doing? Somewhere got some little white boy folding his clothes. Shut up, Queen. You know he's a big bully. Oh, I bet you somebody who's so thrilled that he's locked up. Vanilla Ice. You remember that?
Yeah.
Allegedly hold him over the balcony to release his credits for the music.
Yeah.
You know that should he's low rent because I watched that movie with Michelle A. her life with Suge and Dr. Dre. I didn't know Dr. Dre was as nasty as he was. But if you don't believe her accounts, I didn't know I never knew she had a child with Dr. Dre. I never knew she messed with Suge Knight. Girl, I was stunned when I watched that movie a couple months ago. So I got it on DVD. I bought it a few months ago. I was stunned. I didn't even know all that information.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. It's her telling her life when she was how she met Dr. Dre and how she came to sing on the albums and make her own album and her relationship with Suge Knight and everything. And Dr. Dre denies every allegation she's brought forth. He swears he never abused her. I said, this is very interesting. And they have a son together, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of like, okay, so you got a child with her. I don't know if he has a good relationship with the child or not, but what do you think the child is saying about, you beating up on his mother? And then his daughter, I brought you commentary about that last year. Remember the daughter said she was homeless, sleeping in her car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I do remember that.
Yeah, so it was like, what in the world? And he saying he helped her one time, but he wasn't helping her no more or some mess. I just thought to myself, Dr. Dre, you got a lot of bad omens around you. That wife issue, that woman that he just divorced or was divorcing, or she was divorcing him. Just a lot of bad omens. Well, what else you got to say? I'm gonna check out of here. 2 hours. I'm almost at 2 hours.
Oh.
What do you have to say about the situation with Cash Gurdon and Darion Brown? Do you think he was? Let me ask you this: do you think he was mentally ill at the time of the murder, or do you believe he murdered the kid? Let me ask you that question first. Do you think he killed the child? Let me go there first.
That he did it by himself?
I just asked you, did he kill the child?
No.
Okay.
I could say no.
Okay. So who killed the child?
I don't know. He had help. He had some kind of help.
So you saying he participated in the murder, but he didn't do it by himself?
He participated in it.
Wow.
I still think that he was set up some type of way to go in there and get the child some type of way.
It's the back and forth. That's another thing that bothers me too, besides the fucking 8 Mile. What is this, Eminem? You understand what I'm saying? He went in and out of this house. Don't nobody find that strange to me?
Yeah.
In and out of a house in the wee hours, undetected. Man, that don't sound right, man.
Yeah. I really think he
had help. Sounds off. This sounds off.
You're gonna do all that with a backpack, huh? All of that with a backpack on your back.
Hey, I know Darion Brown was lean, but damn, at some point his feet should have been hurt. And then he went home and changed, allegedly, remember? Because that's where they found the clothes that he wore that had blood from the decedent. So you mean to tell me this boy doing all this on foot for hours? Girl, that just sounds crazy.
And still made it back on time? Before now.
On time? What you mean on time?
The timing just don't work for me.
Well, explain what you mean when you say the timing.
There's too much time to be on foot doing all of it. Now, if he had a car, then okay, I could possibly see.
And that's where I see the cohorts coming in with a car. Because I think you would be tired. Walking in the rain, taking them to the park, kill them in the park, allegedly. Taking them over to the street, wherever that street is from the park. Then going, walking from that house to your house, change your clothes, go rest for a minute, jump back up, walk some more blocks, back to the scene of the crime where you kidnapped the child, walk around, look around, exit the house, and then go where after that?
It's too much.
It's very strange.
That's just
Yeah,
too much.
it is. It's as we say, it's winded.
It's very winded.
It's very winded. It's very winded.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't know. Just, whoo, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I was looking at his attorney talk tonight when I was playing the audio. I was looking at Mr. Harrison. You looking kind of nice there, baby.
Yeah. So he was on there talking tonight?
In the audio to the news, yeah.
Oh, okay.
When I played the audio, yeah. Because I'm 4 days late on the story, so this happened Friday. Yeah. I didn't even get a notification or anything. And usually in my news notifications, I get something. I had got nothing that they had even went to court or talked or whatever. So I just thought that was strange.
Oh, okay. I had seen it on what was it, Fox 4.
Yeah. I didn't receive a notification, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean,
yeah.
See if they pick a date and all that.
Yeah, but I guess they're gonna have to get him assessed in the hospital and get him regulated, medicated, which I thought they would have done all that by now anyway. If they said he had mental issues, you supposed to already had him evaluated when he went in, when he first got in jail. So he should be on some meds by now.
Yeah, it seems like they would have.
So let's just say that. Let's just say he was medicated as of Friday, but yet they like, shit, it's over. You understand?
Yeah.
Ain't no talking to him, nothing. Because damn well he should have been medicated by now.
Yeah, I thought I'm about to go back on it. I thought the mom had said something about he was having some type of mental issues or something back then when he was younger or something.
Well,
I think his mom had said something like that, and he stopped his medication or something.
And too late. It's too late.
Yeah. So yeah.
I just want to know. I just want to know from her, why was your child and his brother staying outside of your house with random people? Because it was said that they stayed at her house, Monica Sherrod's house, at one time. So what the fuck were you doing for your kids to be staying over here with this white woman? So something about that don't make no sense.
Yeah, I agree.
They're staying with some random stranger. So where were you when your children were out staying and sleeping at this woman's house? It's just all this. That's why I say this whole story is jack.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy, but what I don't understand is, I think somebody up under that roof had something to do with it.
I think she was tired of the kids. That's what I think.
I think that it's just too much. It's just too much.
I think Monica was tired of the kids, and that's where Darion Brown comes in.
Yeah, it was something.
I'm tired of these children. What else could it be?
Her son helped.
Yeah, what else? What else? Let's just say it's orchestrated. That could be the only reason. I'm tired of taking care of these kids. They're not my kids. And let's just say, for the record, they're not her kids.
Right.
They were not her responsibility. You cannot just leave your kids with some random ass stranger to take care of your kids for whatever reason, especially because you've been out here fucking up in the street and caught a charge or whatever, and you want to evade the law. That's why I know he's a fucking coward, that daddy, and all that old whining and crying he was doing. Man, I don't feel nothing for him, because you've been a misfit all your life, and you was in just got out of penitentiary when allegedly the mama dropped them off at his doorstep at his mama house for him to get the kids. And then you go take them over at Monica Sherrod's house at some point after that. And then you find out they looking for you, which you know you was in trouble, and you just gonna leave your kids with a damn base head. Come on now. Now come on now.
Yep.
Just leave your kids with a base head.
The thing that gets me is because in the beginning, how they were saying, he never came around here. He never came.
Well, you
around.
lied, and that's another thing. She lied in the beginning. She lied in the beginning, but the Daily Mail caught on to it, and she finally had to go on and tell it. See, she's doing some of that old Rogersville shit. I gotta go and admit, because now it's coming out that they know more.
Yep. Then she had to come
She
out
changed
and
it.
say
She changed it up. Yeah, she did. In the
right.
beginning, you're right. She did lie. She act like she never mentioned that. Oh, yeah, by the way, that person I pointed out as the person that took the kid. Oh, he also came around my house, my children, and then stayed in here with his brother.
Yep. Yeah, none of that. Yeah, she didn't want to say none of that.
Let me tell you something about that old UK. That old Daily Mail, they was putting that shit out like it was the Inquirer. Did you mean when that story broke? They were putting out every other day. They was putting out stuff like the Inquirer. I said, man, this Daily Mail is raw dog. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
These people are raw dog.
Yeah.
And then look, when they went to the house, Crystal, it's just like this shit over here where I'm at. She looked geeked up, nose big, marks on her nose. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, as they used to say in the street, the young folks, is you rolling? I might be. She geeked up. You don't think I'm going to let you come up in my house and I'm geeked up, sweaty looking? Man, I'm just like, wow, okay. And I'm supposed to believe this boy just took this child and killed him, ran around, played hopscotch all in the wee hours, and then walked up in your house during daylight savings time like he getting ready to come eat breakfast to take the other child. And let's go there. Why didn't he take the second child? See, that rubbed me right too. So the demons was in his head telling him, take the cash. Don't take this one. Something's wrong, man. Because he was in there talking to himself. Or what was he saying to himself? I wonder. What was he saying to himself? Like the ghost, get out.
Okay. Oh my God, it's crazy.
It's something very off.
I just don't think it's open shut. Oh, he did everything. I just don't. I can't.
It's just, let me tell you something. Darren's in better shape than the queen, but I'm just trying to understand, virile or not, just all that walking and walking and walking. You gonna tell me that's all he did for hours, because that's all he could have done. And I find that strange. He's doing all this damn walking around with a child, knowing he could be pulled over. Hey, sir, what you doing with that kid? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So he had to have been really sick. Let's just say it went like that. He's the only one involved. He had to be mentally ill to take that child out of there and then be walking with a little white boy during the damn rain and dark. And take him to a park. And then whatever happened at the park, he then killed them there, and then still walked or carried him over to that house where he dropped him off right there at the curb. This just sounds crazy. It sounds crazy as hell.
Yeah. The timing just doesn't add up for me. For a person to be doing all that walking. They don't. I just don't see it. He must have some long legs and he really strolling.
Well, he's a tall fella, but I just think at some point, this is where this, right. I'm gonna tell you what my mind was telling me when I first heard when they finally brought forth the charges and said what they found at the house. It was blood on his sunglasses and something else. First thing I thought was, wouldn't I have just said the hell with it after I killed the little boy and went on to bed when I made it to my house? You see where I'm going? And not have walked back to that house again and walk around looking at the other baby. That's what strikes me odd as well.
Yep.
It's just strange to me. It's a very, very strange, bizarre story. that even if you're schizophrenic or mentally ill, dissociative personality, whatever you want to call it, that you just doing all this, your mind is telling you to do all this damn walking. Walk, keep walking. Walk, keep walking. Go to bed, take a nap, jump back up, go back to her house, go back in that room. That's just, and I ain't saying it couldn't happen. It could be. It could just be his mind was telling him to do all of that. But golly, it's extensive.
Yeah.
It's extensive though. That's what's strange. It's extensive. Very extensive.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, Lord. I bet that lawyer, he's just thinking to himself, how in the world did I get myself caught up in this? Because it's a weird story. Well, I guess later I'll bring you all commentary over here my way. Oh, Lord. I wish there would be an end to that. I'm tired of talking about them folks. I am tired of talking about them because they ain't talking about nothing.
Yeah, I was trying to look up updates on that other story.
Oh, Summer Wells. Yeah,
something with the Chad.
Oh, Chad, there ain't no updates with that. Ain't no updates with that.
So that means that this is coming up. Then what happened to the cupcake case? That should have been coming up at that.
Ooh, girl, man, I got to talk to you about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the sister talked to me a week or so ago of the other suspect.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Baby. Ooh. I'm just, honey. I don't know. Strange. That case too. Strange too. Very strange. They're all strange. See, when I listen to a web being spun, if I get the first inkling that something sounds off, I already assume somebody on the inside done something or hiding something. You understand what I'm saying? But I know mischief and mayhem ain't supposed to make no sense. But that case too, it's off. And it could just be those two, kidnapped the little girl. But I want to know why the mother wasn't held accountable for watching her child. Because you cannot just let your children play outside all damn day and not be held accountable.
Right.
Because whether they were going to kill, kidnap, however you want to word it, a child that day, which I think they were, the point is it didn't have to be your child. It's senseless no matter whose child it is, but that's the whole point. Don't give a person a reason to take your child. That may sound cruel, but it's just the truth. You cannot just let your children run around all damn day unattended.
Right.
You're talking about a 3-year-old. You're not even talking about just letting an 8-year-old, 10-year-old just play outside all damn day and night. Right. You're talking about a 3-year-old that needs to be coming in, using a potty, eating something. It's bullshit, man. And this heifer, she didn't care nothing about her kid. And that's how I feel. I feel that way even now, years later. She never cared for her kids. Anybody get on Facebook talking bad about their own son? Oh, he clingy. Heifer, he just lost his sister. What is that to say about your child, your son? But you can't make some people understand that. They just want to see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear from the case, and they don't want to accept all the other stuff that's bad looking.
Right.
But that's what you should be focused on.
Yeah, they just want to pick and pull.
Yeah, pick and pull.
Stuff off the top.
That's the perfect. That's the perfect analogy. Pick and pull. Amen.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with Cal City. That's how it is with Summer Wells. You pick and pull what you want from the story.
Yeah.
And you dwell only on what you picked and pulled. But that's not how it works.
Yep, whatever makes you feel good.
Whatever makes you feel good. Exactly. Well said. You pick and pull. And my thing is, while you picking and pulling, you're in denial and delusional. Why? When one, you don't know the people, you don't know the child. So you picking and pulling for what damn reason? No, because you got some demons too. That's why a lot of people empathize with them, because they are similar. They have similar mindset, similar ways. So that's why it's easy to say, oh, don't judge them. Oh, you don't know them. No, you don't know them. Because I feel like there's a way of carrying yourself, period. Whether your child is missing or not. Now, your child is missing. There's definitely a decorum you need to follow. Your child is missing. You can't go out here hooping and hollering, acting a damn fool, and people watching. That's just crazy.
Right.
You got to care enough about yourself and self-respect for yourself, because self is first. And care enough about, hey, I got people watching me. I need to watch what I'm doing, watch what I'm saying. So I feel like if you don't care nothing about yourself, after the fact, you didn't give a damn when the child was visible. Ain't no way you cared. You couldn't have cared. And that's what I'm seeing in a lot of these cases. When the parents start ducking off, don't want to talk, don't want to go to the news, and aloof, and then they start clout chasing and want to be seen and talking and being interviewed by everybody on YouTube, this and that. Yeah, I got a problem with you. I think there's something wrong with your ass.
And it is, because that is not normal behavior.
No, because there's so many people got missing. Yeah, because there's so many people got missing children, missing family members. They ain't running to YouTube to talk to nobody on YouTube. They ain't on social media talking all damn day and arguing with people in the comment box. And for what reason?
Yeah, no.
You're supposed to be concerned about your loved one. That's what I'm saying. You're supposed to be concerned about your loved one. You sitting here on YouTube or Facebook arguing with somebody about what they got to say. Well, first of all, if you close your damn page, you wouldn't have to argue with them because you closed your page. The first time you get a negative comment, shut down your damn platform and start your another Facebook page. Message people to let them know, hey, this is what this is my new name on Facebook. Woo, woo, woo. It's bullshit, man. You like that drama because you a part of that madness. And that's what I'm seeing with all these jokers. They're part of the madness.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, they're part of the madness.
You know, who in their right mind is going to have time to make a page when you got something like that going on?
Well, that guy
in my situation, I ain't been on YouTube in how long?
I know, but you know what? That Starkey guy that I believe killed his wife out there in Texas, out there in Houston, he was arguing with people. The first time somebody said something negative, people were saying, you got to go to Facebook and read his comments. He just going back and forth, arguing with random strangers about being a suspect. And I thought to myself, why are you wasting your time when your wife is missing?
Yeah.
And then they found her dead, and you still arguing with strangers. See, then look what he did a few months ago. The motherfucker killed himself down there in Florida because they served him a warrant for her murder. And he told him he'd be right back. He went upstairs and shot himself.
Well, that's what they live off of. They live off the drama.
Yeah, that's it. Because they were dramified. Because they were dramified before. I'm sure he did just the same. The way he was talking to them people in the comment boxes on Facebook. That's how he treated his wife. Talking to her any kind of way, criticizing her. I felt bad for her. I thought, Lord have mercy. She moved all the way to Texas from Pennsylvania with this bum, and what the friend is saying that he was beating her. She'd wake up in the bathroom, laid out, don't know how she got down there.
What in the world? Wow.
Lord have mercy. Then too, she was on Instagram. She had a lot of followers. Oh, so he probably was real hot butter about that. It's very sad. That's because you don't know people. That's the issue. That is the issue. You don't know people. Well, I'm gonna cut it loose. I thank you for joining me. You gonna be up a minute?
Yeah, I should be up.
I hit you up.
Okay, Queen. Love you.
All right, love you too, honey.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That's my mod, Crystal Moore. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, T. And so I'm going to check out of here, but this was a live pertaining to the crisis in Ukraine and Russia. I do believe Russia has pushed forward and entered into territory that does not belong to them. I brought you commentary about a Miami cop, African-American female who broke into her ex-boyfriend's car, stole his garage clicker, and broke into his garage and vandalized his garage. She's been relieved of her duties as a police officer, but we will wait to see if she will be able to keep her job and or be held accountable for her said crimes of vandalism and breaking and entering. I also brought you commentary pertaining to Robert Sylvester Kelly, R.Kelly. He's wanting a new trial. I read the said information. I believe Billboard is the source. And feel free to go over to that said source to get the said information pertaining to him feeling like he did not get a proper trial that he was found guilty of a few months ago. And trying to think what else. Ahmad Aubrey, the 3 suspects who were found guilty in his murder have also been found guilty in a federal trial of violating his rights and bringing forth a racist attack against Mr. Aubrey in his death. And then the last story is Darion Brown. He has been deemed incompetent by both the prosecution and the defense attorney that is representing him, Mr. Harrison and Associates. And when I get more information, I will bring that commentary to you. I do find it very interesting that both sides have come into agreement pertaining to him. And say what, T? Okay, hold on a minute, T. I think it's very interesting how all that has played out, that both teams are in agreement. So now we have to ask ourselves, was he ill when he committed the crime against Cash Gurner? Was he orchestrated? Was he lured to go kill the child? Why did he not take the second child, harm the second child? I find it very interesting. The fact that he was 8 blocks to walk with the said child. How did he get the child there? It was raining. Taking the child to a park. Did he kill the child at the park, or did he kill the child at the curb where he dropped the child off? What is the proximity from the curb to where the park is? All those unknown to me. Going back to the house, changing clothes, laying there for a while, sitting, walking, whatever he was doing, getting back up to go back out to the house in daylight savings time, back to the scene of the crime where he kidnapped the first child, to be walking around a room, talking to himself, looking at the second child and walking out of that room. Something doesn't add up to me. Something is very off with this story. Now, naturally, one could argue the point, well, he's mentally ill. His mind told him to do this, this, and this, so it didn't matter that he had to walk 8 blocks, 10 blocks, whatever the amount is. But it's strange to me. Doesn't have to make any sense naturally if indeed he did it because he's ill, if the courts deem him ill. But it just seems like a lot of walking and moving around with a said child before death that is strange to me. But as I said, the flip side could be his mind told him to do all these things, so it didn't matter what the length of the mile was to walk here, walk there, but it just seems odd. I do find it odd him staying in the said house with his brother at one time, with a woman who has been on narcotics, has had issues with CPS in her own life with her children. Where were his parents when he and his brother stayed at this said location with Monica Sherrod? He was friends with this woman. She lied about it in the beginning of this storyline. See, all of that makes no sense. You ID this man on your surveillance camera as somebody that was in your house, but yet you failed to tell law officials that you knew of him. He stayed in your house. You helped him. You spoke up on him, his behalf when he allegedly kidnapped a child, tried to kidnap a child out of another neighbor's house. See, all that doesn't add up. None of that adds up to me. It's very strange. Okay. TZ, I will pray for you. I did hear the story about the person that was shot Hall of Fame Drive here in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you have any information pertaining to that case, feel free to reach out to me to let me know what happened, and we can discuss that here on Everyday Shenanigans. And yes, the movie of the week is Rental. It's about some friends renting an Airbnb, and they realize they are being watched through surveillance in the shower. It's a very interesting movie. And as I said, you have to decide who is the culprits behind the surveillance of the said people in the house. Is it the owner of the house? Is it an outsider, or is it one of them? It's very, very interesting storyline. I will bring you another movie because I've been watching a little bit of TV here as of late, because I'm like a year behind on all my TV shows and said commentary pertaining to TV. So I'm trying to play catch up. I just finished Dexter, New Blood. It was very good. I do not know if they're going to have a continuation of that said New Blood series, but it did not end the way I wanted it. But that's TV. But it is a very good TV series. For those of you who like a little true crime and gore, check out Dexter, New Blood. Rental, Showtime. I believe it's Showtime. If it's not Showtime, it's at least it's on Roku. Trying to figure out something else that I've mentioned. Any other movies that I've mentioned, please go to my community page for suggestions of movies. Thank you all for joining me. God bless all of you. Thank you, T. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, So, for modding. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you all so much for following the content. You all stay safe. Yes, prayers for TZ. Her relative was murdered here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I will try to get more information pertaining to this said crime. And you see how small the world is. Lord have mercy. Prayers. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so kindly. I appreciate that, honey. But yes, the Queen talked about several subject matters. Tomorrow, I will try to get back to the shenanigans down here on the ground near East Tennessee and bring you commentary pertaining to that mess out of Hollerville. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.